Hi, so if you're watching this video, you're probably in one of two situations. Either A, you're a weekend warrior like me, and you like doing all your own repairs and you refuse to have a shop do it. Or B, you thought you'd be smart, save yourself a couple of bucks. You got to the point of getting this stupid thing off, and you went, oh shit. By the way, when you're taking this heat shroud off, take the top 4 bolts out, and just take a blowtorch right to this, and just cook them. They never come out, they always snap off. Just take cutting torches right to them. Don't even bother. Speaking of which, if you don't have cutting torches, don't even try this repair, because you're never going to make it. Alright, so you go to the store, you buy up your parts. It doesn't have a nut that comes with it. There's a reason. That's because on this particular flange setup, it screws up into the exhaust manifold. Okay, so in most situations that's not too big of a deal. If it's rusted in place, you just cut it out. Alright. But you own a Chevy Prizm or you own a Toyota Corolla. Guess what? Japanese love screwing you over and fixing these things. So, here's our normal flange. Exhaust manifold comes down. You got your flange. You got your other flange. And then you have your downpipe. Okay, most other vehicles, your bolts usually have a spring, and then a bolt going up through. Well, guess what? The Japanese hate us. So, what did they do? They stuck an oxygen sensor right in the way. So, in order to do this job correctly, you've now gone from having to buy 2 or 3 bolts of spring and a gasket to now you need a manifold, a downpipe, an oxygen sensor. Oh, and don't forget, they made a special oxygen sensor flange that you now need to buy. Grand total, about 300 bucks. Now, you're an at-home person, you have cutting torches, and you refuse to pay the Japanese. What do you do? Here's what I propose. When you're looking at your flange piece, you have this, your standard pipe entrance, which is this right here. Here's what you do. You take a grinder, you cut this off. Then, you take your grinder and you nick it here, and you nick this here, because, oh, by the way, they put all of the subframe right in the way, so you can't get to any of these bolts. So, you can't get a ratchet into it, you can't do anything with it. So, you cut this off, you cut this one off, you take these out, and then, rather than using this giant setup, which requires removing the oxygen sensor, remember, you buy 2 shorter bolts. After cutting this out, you tack weld a washer on top. You take your spring, and you cut it in half. You put one on each side, and you're done. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I hope you managed to swear at your Toyota or your Chevy Prizm less than I do. Have a good day. Drink some beer.
If you cut the curve of the firewall heat shield, it easily bends back to get out of your way. Here you can see where I notched it in order to drive the bolt through from the exhaust manifold. And if you clamp one side, you can weld on the other. This makes it much easier. And as you can see, I finished one side, and now I'm able to weld the other side easily.